Sri Lanka is gearing up for another presidential election. And if we look back into the electoral history of Sri Lanka, it's quite evident that factors such as race, language, caste, and ethnicity has influenced these electoral systems and these elections in huge numbers. But actually, in reality, these factors does not significantly play a huge role in progressing our society. Today, on Rights TV, we are talking about this issue. We have Reverend Bishop Asiri P. Pereira with us today. Bishop, so when we look back at the democracy of Sri Lanka, it runs back to the colonial era, and also we after around 7 decades of independence, we have quite a higher literacy rate in our region. But despite of having such a higher political literacy, still Sri Lankan people tend to cast their vote based on these factors such as ethnicity, religion, and even their caste. What are your ideas about this?
Well, I do agree with you that ever since we received independence, the people of this nation have very unfortunately not used their literacy, their intelligence when it comes to elections. In the political arena, from the beginning, we find that heavy emphasis has been made on religion, caste, and also race. And this has actually driven the people of this nation to think in those lines when electing our representatives to rule the country in parliament or in the form of a president. That's very unfortunate. You see, what really disturbs me is what is the benefit that our people have reaped as a result of using these creed, caste, political affiliations, and also race in deciding on who should be our representatives. There I can't see that majority of the people have used their intelligence. They have been driven on their emotions. You see, when you talk about race, religion, these are, very sensitive
Sensitive
issues,
topics.
and it can precipitate a huge problem for this nation if the people look only in the lines of ethnicity, religion, caste, and so on. So I believe, and I am right in saying, that high time that the Sri Lankan people learn to cast their vote, avoiding these compartmentalization that has been done to come into political power or to remain in political power.
Okay, when we focus on the fact on the subject religion, so there are these conflicts in the north and eastern parts of the country between the Hindus and the Buddhists, and also the Easter attacks and even Dr. Safi's incident. So, do you think this affects democracy?
It does. For instance, okay, we'll take this conflicts that are going on in the north
North
about
and eastern.
religious places of worship.
Yeah.
Right. Now, everybody is making their claim based on historical evidence, we'll say, right? Whether there is evidence or not, they are saying no, the historical right is for this particular religion and not for others. That's where we go wrong. Because we find that around that same area, there are other religious places of worship. So why fight to claim only for yourself? Why can't our people accept the fact that we are living in a multi religious and a multi ethnic
Country.
society? And if we are to move forward, we have to be together. Let history be history. We don't need to repeat the divisions of history in modern times. We must learn to put aside these and stand together as Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims, and Christians without making a special right and a claim for ourselves. We are the first, or we are the only. These first and only words are very dangerous. That
Yeah.
should never be brought up in our political arena today.
Yeah. So, as we discussed earlier, Sri Lanka is a country with a very high rate of literacy.
Mm.
But still being this much educated, how are these politicals able to persuade people for these divisions, these religious divisions?
Yeah, I think if people know their religion, their faith, if they follow the precepts of their own
Oh,
religion, this would not happen. I take the whole scenario of different four major religions in this country. I have to answer from my point of view that we have not done our job properly. Our teachings have not really been grasped by the common man when it comes to this divisions of ethnicity and religion and caste. You know, one reason is every person in a particular religion wants to outdo the other
other
religion.
religion. Yes.
That's totally wrong. Because if you look at the preachings of these four major religions, you see, we cannot, compartmentalize ourselves and say, look, now this time it is for this particular religion only. No. Let's accept the fact that we have to live in this country coexisting with other religious minded people. So when it comes to an election, unfortunately, there are extremist elements among uh, politicians and also even among the religions
Hmm.
who try to gain mileage by, you know, instigating the people to go into a kind of a battlefield with the other religions and other races. That we have seen very sadly in our country, and we have suffered so much, and still it's very sad that some people don't understand how they are becoming pawns
Hmm.
in the hands of extremist elements in the political and religious arenas who are trying to gain mileage for their own popularity and are not willing to allow people to unite and work for a united Sri Lanka.
So, if we focus on the Easter attacks incident, which is a huge black mark in the peace of Sri Lanka, we still don't know who is responsible entirely for this attack. And also, it seems like there is some hidden political intentions regarding this matter. What are your thoughts on?
Yeah, okay. It's a very sad
Yes.
and a saga in this country because the Easter attack hurt people.
Yeah.
Not only the people who belong to those families and those villages, but it has hurt people of all religions. You see, to bomb a religious place of worship, not one, about three, and then the tourist hotels, okay. Now, all this, why? People must ask, who wanted this? Right. So that's the question that we have been asking now.
Yeah.
But you know very well, in our experience, the politicians have played heavily. All politicians, all political parties are playing heavily on this East attack to come into power. And they are giving various promises. They gave various promises earlier, and we know what happened. Even now, they are giving promises that when we come into power, we will do this, we will do that. I don't believe a single person who talks about it because I don't see any genuineness. And also, if they are going to unravel all this, you think that the people who carried it out are going to keep quiet?
No.
No. Well, in my Christian understanding, I believe that justice has to be met.
Hmm.
Truth has to be revealed. And I can see that God's justice is coming upon those who perpetrated it. I'm not going to mention names. It's very visible,
Hmm.
right? And I'm not going to be, drawn into some political party or personality saying, right, right, now he will definitely, uh, reveal this to us. Never. Don't be surprised in the after the elections, some will start working on this commission. How many commissions we have had? How many reports we have had? And the reports have said this is what it is. But all the political parties are keeping quiet. They may shout here and there in the parliament. That's of no use now because they have their parliamentary privileges. So hiding behind that, they will say anything, but they won't come out and say anything. That's sad. So who is getting hurt now? Again, the very people who were affected. I mean, just think of those little children who lost their parents,
Yeah.
the husbands who lost their wives, right? So many. Why, continue to, bring out this wound when an election comes? This is not a matter for elections. This is a matter for the human beings, for the human society to get together and seek healing for the hurting people. By bringing up this whole issue, what the politicians are trying to do is gain votes while hurting the actual people who suffered. I'm very sad about it. Same with the Dr. Shafi
Yeah.
incident. You see, uh, I mean, that time the entire community in Sri Lanka were almost pushed to the end to believe that a kottu
Yeah.
can make a woman be barren,
Infertile.
infertile. You see, even certain doctors were saying that. No?
Yeah.
I mean, we had big shots in the government
Yeah.
who were also saying, all this is nonsense. You see, political games should not be played at the expense of a person's religion. And I hope and pray that we will not allow these things to be pulled out at this election. I think we as the voters have a right to tell the people who are pulling these things out and wanting to, gain mileage, tell them to shut up. Tell them to shut up because we don't want your political talks on this matter. This is a hurt, a wound that takes a long time to be healed, and some may never find that healing. And don't disturb those innocent lives. We, as the people who are there to care for them as religious dignitaries, no matter what religion we are from, we have a responsibility to care for them and look after them. I don't think the politicians can ever solve this. That's my personal view.
Yeah. So we always blame the politicians for dividing these religions and races, and also we blame the victims, the general public who are victimized. But isn't aren't the religious leaders too should play some sort of a role in this matter?
Yes, certainly, religious have a responsibility to play a vital role in the society without dividing themselves into different religions and languages and cultures. We are called to serve a nation. We are not called to serve a particular political affiliation or a party or a candidate. We must learn to keep that divide very clearly, not because of anything else. The moment you begin to take your path in support of a particular political party or a candidate, you're putting yourself against the others. And that's the last thing that we want. Religious dignitaries must learn to be impartial. You can have your personal, affiliations. That's okay. You to whom you want to cast your vote, please cast your vote. But don't go and talk to the people as if that they should now take this path in support of this
Yes.
candidate or this party. Encourage people to go to vote. Don't let them stay at home. That is their civil rights that they need to exercise.
Yeah.
But we have no responsibility to tell them to whom we should vote. I think if we do that, we will be able to safeguard our people from getting into unnecessary conflicts between the religions. It's sad that in the same religion, certain dignitaries are for this one, the others are for that one. You see?
Yeah.
So what can the people do? People are totally, in a confused state. A lot of confusion has taken place today. And I believe we as religious dignitaries have a responsibility to help the people to calm down, think through very clearly, and go and exercise their vote. So educate the people how to use their vote, but never tell people they should go and vote to this one or that one. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and also we see that in the modern era, many parties have not only political parties. I mean, every most of the institutions, social institutions, have misused the core concepts of our religions. Will this come to an end eventually?
If we allow ourselves to be misled,
Yeah,
then we are being misled.
yeah,
The people must know to tell those who want to mislead them, please keep away. I don't agree with what you are trying to do. You see, I don't know why our people have now started worshipping these candidates and these political parties like gods. They are not gods, they are human beings, right? And we must tell the people, you are the person to decide. And keep in mind that we are a multi religious society, we are a multi ethnic society, and we are not allowing ourselves to be misled by any
any
politician. If the people stand together on that principle, no politician, no person can ever mislead us to join hands with their extremist views.
Yes, and also up until now in this specific presidential election, there hasn't been any cases of divisions in religion wise. So, do you think this situation will be there until the election ends? And in conclusion, what do you have to say to this intelligent
Uh,
general public?
Yeah, I'm very thankful to my God
Yeah,
for protecting our society thus far by not allowing them to come up with these, uh, violent activities against each other based on religion
Religion,
and caste
ethnicity.
and ethnicity and creed. Now, we are also called upon at this time to be very watchful. You see, in our Christian faith, we are told, watch and pray.
Mm.
Not only pray, but we must also watch.
Watch.
While watching, we can pray. I believe in the same religion. We have our religious practices, and we need to do that while keeping a close watch on what is happening. What is happening now? We have, you know, people jumping like frogs from here to there and again back to here. I mean, it's a very confusing state. You see, we know very well that today what we see has never happened before. When an election is coming on, we have had a few crossovers, but in large scale, in block they go from here to there, and then from there again two or three come back. So what can the people do? People are being confused. Now that's the point where the citizens of this country must be very, very careful, because when they find that a particular candidate is gaining mileage, the one who fears of a defeat can bring in these extremist elements of ethnicity and religion and try to bring conflict. Thank God our society is safe up to now, and we must pray that it will remain to be so. But be watchful that while all this confusion is being created in front of us, that's also the time where the devil enters. He's roaming around like a roaring lion, watching for that moment to attack. So let's all be safe, keep each other safe, and let's tell our politicians, don't come up with this nonsense just to gain mileage for yourself. If the people stand together, I'm sure the politicians will learn to listen to us. That's the problem we have. Politicians don't listen to us.
Yeah.
They want us to listen to them and do what they want us. No, we don't want such leaders in this country. They must listen and feel the pulse of the people and then guide this nation into a better future.
In conclusion, today we discussed about how the elections and the politicians have influenced people towards dividing based on their ethnicity, race, and even their caste in their favor. So, again, thank you, retired President Bishop Reverend Asiri P. Pereira, for being with us today. Uh, so, hope to see you soon with another interview. See you soon.